Welcome to another episode of UCRD Reviews. Today we're taking a look at a P-Bandai release from 2017, one of the last Zakus that I was trying to track down as a figure. This is the MS-06M Zaku Marine Type version anime. This one's become harder and harder to find. Unfortunately, I had to pay a decent amount of money for it, so today we're going to find out if it was worth it. Now, the Zaku Marine Type was Zeon's first introduction into aquatic mobile suit combat, and unfortunately it was a bit of a failure as the waterproof joints would fail and the Zaku itself was not very streamlined for moving around in the water. But this paved the way for other aquatic mobile suits to be designed and fielded in combat, like the Gog, the Zagok, and the Akai. So although it wasn't a very good aquatic mobile suit, it did begin the process of development. So let's go ahead and take a look at the very first Zaku Marine Type figure. Not to be confused with the Zaku Mariner from Double Zeta Gundam, by the way. So let's go ahead and break this thing open. Alright, so here is Zeon's first aquatic Zaku. So it's got this big old Zaku head here with head Vulcans sculpted in. You do want to be careful of the antenna, although you do get a replacement. The top of the head can be removed. This one's actually pretty tight there. And you can remove the mono eye. And it comes with two different mono eyes, very similar to the Zaku 2 Kai, where you can just replace them so that he's looking in either direction. Obviously the other mono eye has it where he's looking the other way. The head can go down about that far. It can move up about to there without popping off, and it can do a full rotation, although it likes to come off the ball joint when it does that. The shoulders, the shoulder armor is very loose. It's just kind of hinged on. It does fall off pretty easily. Arms can do a full rotation, and they can come out about that far. There is a rotating joint right above the white part of the arm here, and there is a rotating joint in the elbow. There is double hinged elbows with this release, so pretty good elbow articulation there, and double ball jointed hands, although the range of motion isn't all that much, which is typical of Zaku's. We do have some chest flex. Arms will come forward about that far, which is actually pretty good. The whole body will come forward a decent amount. It'll come back to a resting position, so there's not much backward movement there. Little bit of side to side, not much, and then it can maneuver around like that a little bit, not a whole lot. Front skirt armor is ball jointed, side skirt armor is hinged, rear is fixed. You do have the stand piece. The legs do those weird version anime forward motion movements. You do have some thigh swivel. It doesn't go fully around due to the armor. Legs will come out about that far, which is pretty good. Knee articulation is not all that great. Legs will come up about to there, a little more than 90-degree knee articulation. And then with the feet, so far this is one of my pain points. They'll come down about that far. They'll come up with toe articulation about to there, and you do have effect part capability or compatibility there. But one piece you want to be very careful of is this front part of the toe. This will pop off the ball joint and fall into the foot. It's kind of a pain to retrieve. So moving around to the back here, you have a hinged rudder, and then you have the jets on the back of the body, which look really, really nice. So paint apps are typical of the Robot Spirit stuff. There's no markings or anything on this, so it kind of falls in line with the standard figures. It looks really good. The colors are right. It is a little bit plain, which is again kind of normal for the 0079 era figures. This is an MSV design, of course, so kind of falls in that same timeline. But really, really interesting figure. I'm glad I finally picked it up. There's that other mono eye. So let's go ahead and check out everything else it comes with in this little tiny set. Alright, so typical of version anime, we have two different sets of opposing hands, the standard hand rack, we have gun hands, and Heat Hawk hands, although we don't get any melee weapons with this release. And this is typical of older releases. We don't really see this much anymore. We have a large selection of sticker sheets. We have this one here, which has quite a few. We have Red Dolphin's insignia and quite a few markings. And then we have this big old sheet here, which has all kinds of stuff on it. This is just something they don't really tend to produce anymore. But for those of you that, I don't really use these, but for those of you that do, this Zaku Marine type comes with quite a bit. Then we have the cool looking sub-rock gun. So that's submarine rocket gun. It's an underwater capable firearm and has a swiveling front handle. There is no effect part capability here. Compatibility, I keep saying capability. It does have a wire stock on it. You do want to be kind of careful of. Looks nice. It's got a lot of color to it. So pretty cool looking. And then we have these, I think these are torpedo launchers. And these actually fit onto the chest. So they here's what they look like. There's one end of them. You can see the warheads sticking out. And there's the, I think that's the back end. Now, these clip on, I believe, I haven't looked at the instructions, but I think they go right like that. So they'll just clip onto the chest, and the way these kind of work is as the Zaku is swimming underwater, it can actually launch these projectiles out as it's coming up to its target, which is pretty cool. We do not, unfortunately, get any effect parts with this set, so there's nothing to show in that regard, although with the new Red Dolphins Zaku Marine type that's coming out soon, there are some really cool new effect parts with that one. Alright, so we're going to compare Zeon's first aquatic Zaku with Zeon's first beam weapon equipped Zaku. So today I brought out the Act Zaku, which is one of my favorite MSV Robot Spirits figures. I was really excited when this one came out, and I just love this design. It's so different, but it's still just a Zaku. And we're going to compare it to the Marine type. Now, obviously these are two very, very different mobile suits, but you can see the elements of the design where they're similar. Obviously the head design's way different, but they both have big heads with the cables all over. Coming around the back, the Act Zaku is just much beefier, and that's because the Marine type Zaku was trying to be streamlined. Obviously it failed in that regard. But very, very cool. Two really great Zaku figures. If you don't have the Act Zaku already, that one's definitely one worth tracking down. So that's really all there is to the Zaku Marine type. The good old MS-06M. It went through a couple different designations. It's also the MSM-01, and there's like two other model numbers that it was called, but it's the Marine type. So it is an interesting design replicated here in the Robot Spirits line. It's a good figure. There are some elements of it that were kind of lackluster, like the little pieces on the toes were kind of annoying when they would pop off. The shoulders pop off quite often. And then, of course, in terms of the paint, it's kind of plain. Doesn't come with much. It just comes with a sub-rock gun, which is fine. I mean, that's really the only armament that it has, that and the torpedo launchers. But no effect parts, which was typical of the older P Bandais, but still a disappointment. Now, the big question. I bought this not second-hand, it was a brand new figure, but I bought it on the secondary market. How much did I pay for it? This little figure cost me $106, So way above what I'm sure it originally cost. Is it worth it? No, it's not worth that much. I wouldn't pay probably more than $70, $80 for this. But realistically, are you going to find it for that cheap? Probably not. And since this is only one of 2 Zakus that I'm missing that I want, the last one that I'm trying to track down now is the Worker Zaku. I went ahead and paid it because I'm sure the price is going to continue to increase. And all the other places I found it were over $200. So paying $106 wasn't as bad comparatively. So let me know if you bought this when it first got released a long time ago, and what you think of it, and if you're excited for the Red Dolphins release. Thank you for supporting the channel, thank you for watching the review, and I'll see you next time.